Okay, now that we've got our bearings and parts all cleaned up, and we've got our rotor all cleaned up inside, you see it's all cleaned up there, and this is our second washing, so you can see how little, but there was a little remnant from our first washing that's in our solvent there. Okay, so now a word of caution about using this carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner, especially if it has xylene in it. This is under pressure. When you squirt your parts, it tends to splash back into your face. I can tell you from experience, it'll ruin a brand new pair of glasses in 1/10 of a second. It just melts. If they're plastic lenses, it just melts them. If you get it on the paint of your car, it'll take the paint off instantly if it's got xylene in it. Okay, and it burns like crazy in your eyes. You'll think you're going mad. So wear face protection, do this outside, well ventilated, and dispose of your solvents properly. Okay. Another word of caution is when you're cleaning these parts and you're running your fingers inside these races and these interior cavities, even on the outside, any of this stuff, they tend to get little tiny spears of metal that are like a little cutting blade. And be careful because it'll slice you wide open. It's always kind of good to take a rag and move a rag around your parts first and see if the rag hangs up on any little cutting blade that's sticking up. I've got one little one there on the tip of my finger from yesterday, but I've had them much worse. So just be careful of that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is set this aside. I'm going to take some of my wheel bearing grease here, get some on my finger, okay, on my right hand, and I'm going to put some in my left hand, the glob, all right? And then what I'm going to do is take my bearing, and from the wide side and the back, with clean hands, I'm going to take a little bite and press, a little bite and press on the grease. Little bite and press, little bite and press. I was holding the camera with my chin. I hope you could see that. Okay, but you can see the grease starting to push up from the top. You want to work yourself all the way around the bearing, pushing that grease up until it comes out the top. All right, then you want to take your bearing when it's full of grease and you want to get it spinning. It's kind of tough because it's going to be greasy. All the surfaces will be greasy and slippery, but just keep working it back and forth with your fingers wedged in the middle and get that bearing to turning, and get it turning so that all the surfaces get grease on them. Okay, and as you need more grease, put another finger full of grease in the palm of your hand. Okay, and do both bearings like that. And then what I do is my dust cap that's clean, well, my big bearing, I'm going to put a couple of big globs of grease inside here, okay, which I could do now because I'm not too far along. Let's get a couple of globs of grease and smush them around down in there. Get everything kind of pre-lubed up there. We'll get another thing of grease. Oh, there's a big air pocket down there. Looks like they might have shortchanged me on grease. Anyway, down inside this rotor, we'll coat that with grease in there. Okay. And then when that's done, I'll be putting the bearing in. So I'm going to pack the bearings. This one will go inside of here. But for now, when I pack this little one, I'm going to set it in the dust cup like that with my other parts. That way they stay nice and clean.